Go over because the next couple weeks are somewhat crazy, just with the days we have off and ACTs and all that stuff. Okay? Yes. Okay, so today we're going to be going through the Molar review. Now, everything that we do today should be review for all of us. So it's going to be a relatively short lecture kind of deal. We're going to be going through a few things with the flow chart that you see up front that we've done earlier in the year. Okay? And so you're going to get, well, that half sheet that you have with you is going to be your homework that's due tomorrow already. Okay? We're going to be going through that today in class together. After that, and I do need your attention for the whole time still, like we're going to do the Brownie lab on Friday. There's a lot of like little pieces that we need to go through to make sure that the Brownie lab goes well. So I know you're going to be excited, it's fun, it's a really fun day in chemistry, okay? But we are still doing like something with it, okay? So we need to make sure that we're paying attention to all the directions of things that I'm going to go through with you once we get to that portion of class today. Okay, so we're going to start out with Molar review, then we'll move forward with the Brownie lab from there. Now, if we take a look at the things moving forward here, if we look at Monday, next week, if you look where it says homework due, there's no homework due that day. It says big day right there, right? It's not kidding. Like next Monday is a huge day for us. Okay, we're going to be going through basically, it's the foundation of everything we do for the rest of the unit. All the labs, everything else. If you do not make it to school on Monday, or if you're sick, whatever, like, you're going to be missing a lot of stuff that day. And then we don't really see you in any capacity again until Thursday for a little bit, and then not until the following Wednesday after that. So you really want to make sure that you're here for next Monday. Okay, that's our real like big stoichiometry introduction. Okay, then Tuesday we have Digital Learning Day. You will have Tuesday and Wednesday, and one of the days you need to complete a mini quiz on Canvas. It's going to be just 15-minute quiz worth 5 points, so nothing major, but it's going to let us know like where you're at with the stoichiometry stuff. Okay, it's just making sure that you're keeping up with what you need to be doing for this unit. Okay, so it's not supposed to be something that's meant to be really long. And we have a performance lab at no school. We'll come back. We have a big lecture on a Wednesday, and then we'll have Lego activity, Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab is one of the most fun labs of the year as well. So we got a couple fun labs going on during this chapter, and then our stoichiometry test isn't for like a month. Okay, so that's just letting you know what is coming up moving forward here. Now, a lot of the stuff with stoichiometry, guys, just like everything in chemistry, is going to build on itself. So if some of the stuff that we go through today is not making sense to you, you need to make sure that you raise your hand and ask questions. We're going to have time for us to come around and help you out today. If you do not get questions answered today, come with questions for small group tomorrow, or stop by during your PLTs. We got a lot of opportunities to get better at these things, so make sure that you're getting the help that you need. All right, you can put that schedule away for right now, and please take out your Molar review sheet. We're going to go through 3 example problems that are not on your sheet together, and I'm going to fill out this flow chart with you. Now, granted, yes, the flow chart is kind of small on your sheet. If you want to write it bigger on the back or somewhere else, you can do that. That's fine. Okay, and then you're going to have 3 problems to go through. So if you want to write those problems in the back of the Molar review sheet, that's fine. Realize that you're going to turn them in then. So if you wanted to write them in a notebook instead so you have them for reference, that's okay too. Like, it's up to you guys. Okay? Now, today, like I said, we're going to do the Molar review. You have to remember a mole is just a representative unit, right? It's the same thing as like a dozen or anything else. It's just an easier way for us to say 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. It's a huge number. Right? So we have this term to help us with that number. But we need to understand that the mole represents that number. Okay? So remember, it's 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, and that's atoms and particles. This flow chart helps us do conversions with that number and with molar mass and all that kind of stuff. Okay, everything that we do today, we're going to be using T-charts for this. Now, I realize that plenty of you can convert from grams to moles by just realizing that you have to divide by molar mass. Okay? The point is that you get comfortable using T-charts, because when we start stoichiometry, the thing with stoichiometry is it's all about comparing products to reactants, reactants to products, and that kind of stuff in a chemical reaction. So we're going to be able to convert from, say, grams of oxygen on one side of the chemical reaction to moles of H2O on the other side, just using one value. Okay? and without using a T-chart, you are going to struggle with those problems. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are comfortable using T-charts. So everything that you do on your assignment today should be done in a T-chart. Yes, I get that it might be a little bit tedious for you, but in the long run, you're going to be saving yourself time, and you're going to be saving yourself a headache the day after test day when you're wondering why you didn't do well on your test. Okay, so please do things the way that we're asking you to do it well. Okay, now we have this flow chart. We've seen this before. We did this before early in the year. We are using this to compare moles to grams and moles to particles, anything on here. Okay, so up here in this box we can write particles, we could write atoms, molecules, any of those things. Okay, they're all going to be the same. Now we have some values and some ways in our T-chart to convert from moles to grams and moles to particles and grams back to moles or any of that kind of stuff, right? We can convert in between any of these things on this flow chart. And you're gonna see this flow chart for probably just about the rest of the year. Everything's building on this little stoichiometry chart. Okay? When we're converting from moles to grams, we are always going to be using the molar mass of the element or compound that we are working with. Okay, so if we want to know how many moles or how many grams are in a mole of oxygen, we're going to have to look at the molar mass of oxygen, right? If we look at the periodic table, it tells us there's 16 grams. That 16 grams means there's 16 grams in 1 mole. And if we look at fluorine, well, fluorine's got 19 grams in 1 mole. Okay, we can look at any of the compounds and any of the elements, but the point is that they're all different, right? They're all different. When we want to convert from moles to grams, this is the bottom arrow on it. You're going to be putting this into your T-chart. And when you put it into your T-chart, you're going to have grams on the top and 1 mole on the bottom of your T-chart for that. It's the same thing as multiplying by the number of grams. Okay, when we go back the other way, so say I give you a number of grams, I said, I have 18 grams of oxygen, how many moles is that? Well, in that case, we're going to need to divide by the molar mass of oxygen. So when we put this into a T-chart, we're going to end up having our 1 mole be on top. So this is when we're going from grams to moles over our number of grams, or our molar mass. So that bottom is conversion, right? This way is the same as multiplying. This way is the same as dividing by the molar mass. Okay, then if we take a look at the other side. Okay, we want to convert from moles to particles. What we're going to be doing is using Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Now, in this case, that number, where on the other side molar mass is different for each element, Avogadro's number is the same for any molecule, compound, atom, it does not matter. If I have 1 mole of oxygen, I have 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms of oxygen. If I have 1 mole of sugar molecules, I have 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd sugar molecules, or molecules of sugar, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the same for every single one. So, when we are converting from moles to particles, we're going to be multiplying by this number. That means that on our T-chart, it's going to be on the top. So we have 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd on our little conversion over 1 mole. When we go the other way, so we go from particles back to moles. Now we're going to be dividing by Avogadro's number. So that means it's going to have to go on the bottom of our T-chart. So here we're going to have 1 mole over 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, and this flowchart is just used to help us solve these type of problems. Okay, I'm going to go through 2 examples with you, then you're going to do the 3rd one by yourself just to figure out and see where you are at. Okay, this first question says, how many moles are in 13.02 grams of oxygen. Okay? So whenever I do a problem like this, and especially once we start moving on to stoichiometry, and they're not so straightforward like this, it is going to be essential that you identify the value that you are given or that you're starting with, and then the value that you're ending with. Okay, on these ones, it should be relatively easy for us to identify that. And some of the other problems we move along, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So we need to make sure that we're able to do that. Okay, so the first thing here is we want to start with a value, right? We can't start a T-chart out with just, well, nothing, right? So how many moles. So moles is what we want to end with here. And it's saying we're given 13.02 grams of oxygen. So when we start a T-chart out, we're going to start by writing 13.02 grams. Now when we write oxygen out, we need to write O2. Okay? We know that oxygen doesn't just exist by itself. Okay, now we're always going to set up a T-chart just like this. Okay, so I get my T-chart all set up. Now, because we did T-charts early in the year, we should know that if our unit is right here, now not the number, just a unit, it means I need to bring that unit down here. Okay? And that makes sense if we look at the flow chart too, because if we look at our flow chart, when we're at grams and we want to get from grams to moles, we see that it says 1 mole over a number of grams. So our T-chart should reflect that, right? Right now we have grams at the bottom. And in this case I have grams O2. It's grams O2 because I'm dealing with oxygen, right? You might think that writing this O2 afterwards is tedious, but trust me, when you're doing this with multiple compounds and elements in a problem, writing that O2 afterwards is part of your unit. It's going to help you out, okay? Now, we want to go from grams to moles. That means I'm going to have to put moles on top, just like our flow chart is showing us here. So I'm going to put 1 mole up here. The only other thing that I have to do right now is figure out what is the molar mass of O2. Okay, so in order to do that, I have to look at the periodic table. I'd see oxygen's molar mass, just 1 oxygen is 16. And since it's O2, it would be 32. So we're going to get 32 grams of O2 here, and that's in 1 mole. Now, to know that I've done this correctly, take a look here. I have to cross these guys out. Okay, grams cancel out. I'm left with only moles. That's perfect because the problem is giving me, or is asking me to solve for moles. So I know my T-chart's done when I have the unit on top that the problem is asking me to find. So I'm being asked to find moles. I got moles on top. All right. Now, I write equals, and then it's just plug and chug. So I'm taking 13.02 and I'm dividing by 32. Remember, we multiply by everything on top. We divide by everything on bottom. Okay, so if we do that here, we're going to get about 0.405. 0.41 is fine as well. Okay, 0.405, and that's moles O2. Okay, this next one, if you have a calculator, I would suggest taking it out and figuring out if you can get the right answer here, because remember, sometimes using our exponents here can be somewhat tricky for us. So now is a great time to figure out if you can punch it in your calculator the right way. Alright, so number 2 says, how many grams are in 2.91 times 10 to the 24th particles of H2O? Well, first of all, it's telling me I have 2.91 times 10 to the 24th particles of H2O. So I'm going to write out, start off 2.91 times 10 to the 24th, and that's particles of H2O. Yes, I realize it's a big label. Okay? Alright, now, using the flow chart, first of all, I don't have to use the flow chart. If I just know how to get through a T-chart, that's fine. But if I look at the flow chart, it's going to help me out here. So I'm starting at particles. I want to go 2 moles and then 2 grams. I can't just go from particles right to grams. So, if I take a look at my arrow here, what it shows me, when I'm going from particles to moles, I need 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd on bottom. So down here, I'm writing 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. It's particles H2O. and that's in 1 mole of H2O. Now, at this point in the problem, I'm left at moles right now, okay? I need to get to grams, okay, which makes sense. I need 2 steps in my flow chart. That means I'm going to have 2 steps in the problem. So, I need to go from moles to grams now. So, essentially, I'm starting the problem right here now, okay? To get from moles to grams, remember, I'm going to have 1 mole on bottom, and I'm going to have grams of H2O on top. Okay, once I'm at the unit that the problem is asking me to find, I'm good. So it's saying how many grams. Here I'm at grams of H2O. Awesome, it means I'm good, right? So all I have to do is find out what the molar mass of H2O is right now. So it's nitrogen 1 times 2 is 2, plus 16 is 18 grams. Okay, this is the part that you have to be careful with down here. If your calculator has EE button, you just hit 6.022. EE, 23rd, perfect, you're good. If you do not have that, you need to put parentheses around this guy. Because otherwise what your calculator is going to do is it's going to divide just by 6.022, and then it's going to multiply by 10 to the 23rd when you're done. You know that you didn't do it right if you get a number times like 10 to the 20 or 46. You get a really, really big number. Okay? So make sure that you can get the correct answer here, and you can plug it into your calculator the correct way. For this, you should get 86.98 grams of H2O. If you have questions right now, raise your hand.
Maddie, any questions? She can't get it. It took her 2 tries.
Okay, let's take a look at this next one. I want you to solve this one, please. It's saying how many atoms are in 341 grams of chlorine gas. So we're starting at grams. We want to know how many atoms. Somebody please tell me, when you write out chlorine gas right now, how must you write out chlorine gas? Because it matters.
Cl2.
Cl2, exactly. That matters for your molar mass. It should be written as Cl2, not just Cl. So right now, please go through and solve number 3 and make sure that you can do this. You need to be able to do this for this entire unit. It's not going away. If you have questions right now, raise your hand.
Where is this?
So I had to run out, you know. I got that. No, I'm fine. There's just little.
Not getting the answers, you gotta let us help. Let's help with this. Calculator.
Oh, I get it. I got it.
I'll just put it
Painkiller.
I did do it wrong.
That's how your process started.
Start with this one. Because that's the only
I remember I've never been able to recreate that. It was like
Not being a good student.
That's okay. Alright, guys, I put the answer up there. You should have something else relatively close to this, okay? Depending on how you rounded for the molar mass and scoring. If you do not have this and you're having trouble getting an answer, please raise your hand right now. We can go around and help you. Unless you are being helped already.
Even just using the calculator. Don't be shy.
If it's emotional help that you require, we'll call a counselor.
How do you get the
here.
Here, I take the secrets up there. 34.45. But there's two.
Is this all we're doing in here?
No. You'll probably get out of here.
I gotta leave at 1:45 anyway. It sounds like we're supposed to stay.
Yeah, you're probably gonna So how you can do this is literally hit this guy with 6.02 line. times 10. Yes, 18 slices. Except for this one when it's on the bottom, you have no parentheses. So then you just put any number. You go parentheses 6.0.
Do it.
That's what you're doing. Otherwise what you're going to do is divide it. Okay. Okie dokie, are we good? Sweet.
Because you're going to see. Oh, Brownie, listen, this is fun.
Okay, please put that half sheet away for right now. Like, even if you're working on your homework, like, I get it. I'm happy that you're trying to get that done, but we need to be able to go through this Brownie Lab stuff right now. Like, you have to pay attention right now, or you're going to do this wrong for Friday. And to be quite honest with you, it's some of the most like fun and easy points that you're going to get this year, and it's a good lab for us. Okay, it's one of people's favorite labs. Okay, but we have to. Pay attention to a bunch of rules.
I don't know what it is. You can go with this. I don't want to go with JC, she has no common sense. JC has literally no
Okay, so pass that lamb or pass the ingredients list down right now, please. Okay, once again, I know this is going to be fun, but we have to make sure we pay very close attention right now. So everybody, I need your undivided attention right now. That means you're not talking to each other. Okay, thank you. Now. It did. That's kind of fun. Okay, here we go. Now, if you take a look at your Brownie Lab sheet in front of you, these directions that you have, these are not like suggested directions, everyone. Okay, this is the recipe that you all need to follow. Okay, but my grandma makes the best brownies ever. That's fantastic for your grandma and for you. But you can't bring them in on Friday for this class. Okay, so you need to make the brownies that we have on this sheet, because believe it or not, there is an educational purpose for doing this, not just so we can all eat brownies together on Friday in class. Okay, so you need to follow these instructions. Okay, first and foremost rule. Okay, you're going to have the opportunity to either work with a partner in this lab or work by yourself. Now I'm going to start off by telling you that working by yourself is better. Why? Because then we have more brownies on Friday. Okay, if everybody works together, you guys can do the math, like that's, you know, half as many brownies as if everybody works by themselves. Now, I'm not saying that some of you can't work together, but if you are confident in your... Thank you. Okay. If you're not confident in your cooking abilities, like fine, work with somebody else or have your mom help you out. That does not mean have your mom make the whole thing. It means have her help you out. Okay? So, like I said, you're going to have the opportunity to work with another person. But we are going to be doing this by our Friday class, right? So, if you would like to work with another person, that person must be in your Friday class. Not just at the same time as you on Friday, they need to physically be in the same classroom as you. Now, some of you probably got a text from somebody earlier in the day. If you got a text from somebody earlier in their day saying they would like to work with you, then they should have also texted you what your altered ingredient will be. So that's the second piece of this lab. Okay, each one of you is going to select one ingredient to alter. Okay, so that will be one of the, I don't know, 8 or 9 ingredients that are on here. That means that you are literally replacing whatever the ingredient says on here with whatever the one we give you or you choose from up front here. So that means if you have the one that says 1.5 cups butter, that does not mean that you're adding that to the half cup of butter on here. That means you are replacing the half cup of butter on here with 1.5 cups of butter. Okay? So we're swapping out that ingredient. That's an essential part of the lab for today. I'm not going to say any more about that. Now, up front right now, we have something else. It's called our Brownie Pledge. Now, in the past, we have given students this Brownie Pledge to fill out. And what it says is basically that you are going to adhere to all the rules that we set forth in the lab. Okay? So everybody in here is trusting you, right? They're trusting that you're going to make the brownies how we're asking them to, and that you're not putting other things in the brownies. Now, that is a strict rule. So, you know, you could lose points in the lab for this. You could get detentions for this. You could get suspended for this. We've never had a problem with this, guys, and I don't expect it to be a problem this year either. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you are doing this lab. Okay? Making the brownies should be fun for us. It's going to be a completion grade just to bring those brownies to class on Friday. So part of this lab is literally, I made brownies, I got them to class. Okay, and you're going to get points for that. Easiest points of the year, honestly. Okay? Now, we have a couple other rules on here. You can't change the recipe in any way. So you can't add ingredients, you can't add steps, you can't add frosting, you can't add nuts, you can't add any of those kind of things. Okay, it has to be just like we had up here, besides your altered ingredient. You cannot use a box recipe. And the last part is very important to us. Okay? You cannot change groups once you have selected and signed up for one. Okay, so once you come up here and you grab your altered ingredient, you write it down, you fill out the survey that we're asking you to fill out, that's it. You're doing it. Okay? The whole point of that is so that on Friday, if I forget to do my brownies and I go, hey, JD, you get your brownies done? All right, sweet. Mr. Gussie, me and JD are partners now. Okay? Like that's what we're trying to avoid. Okay, so you are responsible for bringing in brownies once you sign up for this. Okay? So, in a minute, I'm going to have you come up here and you're going to be selecting what your altered ingredient is. Take 2 minutes right now and you can either find somebody in here that you'd want to work with. Once again, they need to be in your Friday class. Or you can text somebody that you would want to work with. But they obviously have to have chemistry with. There's half the people have already been in here today, right? So if you didn't get a text from one of those people, like they probably already have a group and you're not working with them. Okay, because they already had to sign up. So if you didn't get a text from somebody earlier in the day, that's it. You got to do your own. Okay, or you can text somebody that has a class after this. Does that make sense, everybody? Even if somebody else sent you earlier, you're still going to fill out this survey. Okay, so you can take a minute right now, see if there's anybody in here that you'd like to work with, and then we'll move forward with the next step after this. Okay? Yes?
Okay, I have a serious question. So I don't know if I'm going to be gone Friday again, so I might come in 1 and 2, but I might be in like my regular
I'd rather have you working on your own.
Well, which one do you think you're going to go in for?
I don't know. It depends if our race is Kansas. Sure. I think I'm going in for 1 and 2.
Just plan on 1 and 2 then.
1 and 2.
Plan on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. There you go. So talk to people around you quick. Yes, what's the question? Okay, do we have an alternate assignment?
Okay, so you're in 1 and 2.
And then for the brownie completion part, use this, it won't count for
Do we have to? I'm sure my mom will be able to. I hope I can. Like,
we have
God, I guess. I had so many dryers there. In freshman year, because this one. She brought in this one.
So we're not.
I just hope it doesn't solve it. Yeah, that was.
You want to do before we leave today?
Hey, Mr. Molar, I have
Yeah, you 10 minutes ago.
no 5.
I thought it says 1:45 on Tuesday.
Yeah, it does, but I gotta get out for my
You're gonna be okay. You'll get it to you in a second.
Brittany's not gonna be here Friday. Yeah, he's like, I have to do that. I'm gonna be gone.
Okay, so probably should know who you're working with at this point. Couple other things to go over, and then we're gonna come up here, pick ingredients and all that good stuff, and I'm gonna need you to pay attention to this. I went through all this. Oh, one last thing that I forgot to tell you, and it's on here right now. Some of you and your parents are not gonna want you to bring in their pans and stuff, right? Like it's just inevitable. Again, that's fine. Okay, but if you are going to cut your brownies out and bring them in like on a different plate or whatever, paper plates, that's we don't care. That's all good. But you need to let us know what the dimensions of the pan are. So somewhere on your recipe sheet, please write like you need dimensions of your pan, like if that's probably going to apply to you. So you need to make sure you know what the dimensions of the pan are. Well, I know you're not write the dimensions down right now. Guys, you need to know the dimensions when you come here on Friday. Not right now. On Friday, you need to know the dimensions. Okay. Perfect. All right. This is the most important part right now. Okay. In a minute, you are going to come down here, and you are going to select an altered ingredient. Each of you or each group will come down and select an altered ingredient from the beakers in front. Each beaker is for a different Friday class. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. It is by your Friday class. So Gussie's are right here. Blackford's are these two. Mine are these four. Not your tour, by your Friday. So if you have to check right now, make sure you know which mods you have chemistry on Friday. Take a look at that. Okay? Now, when you come down here, we're going to go row by row. You are going to select one ingredient. You're going to literally take that piece of paper back to your spot with you right now. Do not put it back in the beaker because we do not want people overlapping with the same thing, right? So you can recycle at the end of the day, whatever, okay? You are going to write that altered ingredient on the top of your recipe because remember, you're doing that, that's substituting out for whatever other one it has on the actual sheet. We already went through this, like if you get the butter, whatever, you're substituting that out. Okay, whatever your alternate ingredient is. Okay? Now, you're going to put that on here. Then you are going to go onto Canvas. Okay? On Canvas, there's a link under modules called the Brownie Pledge Sign Up. Okay, the whole point of the Brownie Pledge Sign Up is to let us know that you've read and understand the rules associated with the lab. Okay? You're also going to be writing your name, your group member, if you have a group member. If you don't, you just leave that part blank. Okay? You're going to select your tour. So when we go through and read it, we get these. Okay? You're going to select your tour. Okay, this time on the first thing on the survey, or the first teacher spot on the survey is for your tour. Then you're going to write your altered ingredient on there. Why are you putting your altered ingredient on there? So it's holding you accountable so we know what you have. Also, if you are panicking tomorrow after school and you're like, holy crap, I lost my recipe sheet with my altered ingredient on it, we have those for you. Okay, so we know what you're supposed to have. Then you're going to be seeing 3 rules on there. You are writing your initials by those rules. And that's just to say, it's like a disclaimer, everyone. That's to say, like, yes, I won't put something in my brownies. I won't, I don't know, do whatever. I forget what the other 3 are. Okay? Off the top of my head. Okay, and then the very last thing on there is your Friday teacher. So you need to be able to select your Friday teacher at the end. Okay, so remember, you're going to come up here by row, grab a piece of paper, by your Friday teacher. Okay? First row you can go.
Guys, if you're partnering up, only one person needs to get it. If you already have a partner from a previous class, you don't need to go get one.
Yeah, if you have a partner from an earlier part of the day, do not grab one right now.
Fill out your survey right away.
And if you do grab one right now and you fill out a survey with this one, that means you're
He said we don't
doing brownies. You're making brownies by yourself.
Talk about the no cheat.
Oh no, I did not. Hold on. Thank you. No. You can get in 1 second. Yeah, you can come up here and get one. Okay, guys that are up here right now, just freeze for 1 second, please. Okay. The only one that you are allowed to change, thank you for reminding me of this, Mr. Gussie. is the no change. Okay, if you are very inept, that means you suck at cooking. Okay, sorry. If you're not very good at cooking and you get the no change, you can put the no change back and pick a different one. Okay, but that's the only way that you're switching. Does that make sense, everyone? So if you get the no change, you can keep the no change. Yeah, if you're not good at it. Okay, there you go. Now you guys can go. What?
It's impossible not to do. All the measurements are great.
What says half of sugar? Is that the white sugar it says? Or just sugar? Or white sugar and sugar? Because it's white sugar.
Yeah, we don't have brown sugar in the recipe. Yes.
No change.
Can you do it? Okay, good. All right, second row, you guys can go. First row, you gotta get in on the canvas, go to modules, fill out that survey, please.
I need to do it.
I got like, we got sugar.
Make sure you get that survey filled out. I don't care if you don't do it here or not.
Oh, you gotta pick some I don't know what mod it is though. Cup butter, that's lame.
Okay. I'm gonna add one egg. Actually, I want 2 cups
Is this
of
for
sugar.
your Friday mod? Yes. No, this is just your tour. This is your tour?
No.
Oh shit. Your Friday mod for I don't know mine. 9, 10. What is mine? I don't know. It's 11, 12. Is it your Friday's your tour, isn't it? 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar.
Okay, third row, you can go.
It's MEGAN. Okay. And what's the last one?
Where do you get to that?
Go to modules.
Oh, it's in modules? Okay. I was what's your last name? She spelled that so
So you're gonna have you'll get excused for like you're for sure not gonna share those modules.
What's the my initials?
wait, Taylor, you both have to go to 6?
Yeah, there's 2 go to 3, 4.
That's your tour.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Right, next row. Everyone else. Yep, back row, everybody else, you guys come up here and grab one.
Your initials.
Is this Gussie? 2 cups of sugar. I want that one. Evan. Oh, rip. What'd you get? What did you get?
I can't like reach it.
So as you guys go through this, understand measuring units. Those that don't understand what a teaspoon is versus a tablespoon, you may need to ask your parents about it. One year we had a student who had a full teaspoon, I believe, of salt, and they didn't read it very carefully, and students were walking away from that section, and there's certain people who, we're not making you actually eat them. You can taste them and spit them out if you like them. There's always a crew that's like, I'm going to eat every one of them. I'm going to do it. And they came away from this one, and their faces are just totally altered, and they're holding it. And it's usually guys, because they're just not as intelligent. Did I say it? Okay. Yeah. I've been doing it a long time. There's never a group of girls like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. Because by the end, every guy that tries it, they're like, that was a really bad idea. So they leave this one group area, and their faces are just really all wrecked. And I'm like, what? They're like, you're going to try it. So I take a bite, and they put a cup of salt instead of a teaspoon of salt. They didn't read it very carefully. So after I eat that, I go to the other side of the room. This happens in the same hour. And they're like, you gotta try this one. So I take a bite. I'm like, why is it crunchy? And the kid who made it, he's smiling. He's like, you like them? I'm like, oh God, what? He goes, no, I was being really scientific. Like, what does that mean? And I look down, and there's all these little spikes. Little white spikes. He's like, you said 2 eggs. He's like, you never said anything else. I'm like, well, I'm not trying to trick you. You don't put in the shells. So he thought he was being more scientific by putting in the whole egg. I'm like, you didn't put the bottle of vanilla in there. I mean, so please don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
Okay, that's it, guys. You have the rest of the time to work on your homework for tomorrow.